Hello, welcome to the Newspaper Review here on Top TV. Yes, it's a Wednesday and it's the 7th day of December 2022. We are back here on the Newspaper Review where we bring you the headlines across newspapers around Nigeria. And we are happy to have you on the program. With me here on the program is the beautiful, super smart, intelligent Natasha Brown.
All of that for me. Okay, thank you.
Of course. That's how I see you, though. So
Thank you.
You're welcome to the program. And together, she and I were going to go through these headlines and analyze them to the best of our ability. We would love you to do the same by dropping your comments and your reactions on the comment section. We want to know what you think about the headlines we'll be reading out to you shortly. Before I go on to the headlines, I'd like to inform you that we got news that your PVCs are not ready, so please do well. If you registered within the last few months, please do well to visit any INEC office that is within your local government to pick up your PVCs and get your mind ready for the general elections, because it is that important. Make sure you participate at the general elections. All right, without wasting time, let's go straight to the business of the day. We'll begin our news headline readings today with This Day newspaper. And on this day, we see here as headline, Tinubu, how I made my money. I'm not denying my wealth, says West still uncomfortable with Buhari. Reason they are not selling arms to his government. Vows Nigerians won't suffer under him because he's not the incumbent. Boast he remains front runner for 2023 presidential run. All right, moving on to other headlines here. We also see Sultan, let's trust Buhari on promise for credible 2023 elections. You'll find our details on page 41 of This Day newspaper. Atiku, Tinubu's Chatham House appearance comparable only to stand-up comedy. Whip for Nigeria, not APC candidate. PDP admonishes, says ex-Lagos governor advertised incapacity, inefficiency. All right, to the main headline on this day, it says here, in a move that may prevent vote buying, CBN sets new withdrawal limits, restricts individuals to 100,000, corporate withdrawals to 500,000 weekly. Daily POS withdrawal pegged at 20,000. ATM 100,000 at weekly. Says third-party checks above 50,000 not eligible for off-the-counter payment. Urges customers to use e-Naira, other digital payment channels. Warns banks against policy violation. Apex Bank records 8 billion naira e-Naira transactions in 1 year. Buhari seeks second term for 2 CBN deputy governors. All right, that's all the headline I will be taking from This Day newspaper. Do well to pick up a copy of this paper and read up the details for yourself. All right, Natasha, I'm going to come to you, but then let's go to Tinubu at Chatham House. Not just that, the BBC also released the first interview, I believe, since he started running for the office of the President of Nigeria. The first interview he'll be granting to any media house, but this time it's in the international media, so BBC to be precise. And he said quite some interesting things during an interview, and then one of them is how he made his money. Can you just give us an overview of that interview or what you think about it?
First of all, it's actually my first time hearing him sound really coherent.
Yeah.
make really well joined statements, and not
without any assistance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kudos to him and kudos to the PR team. They really propped him up well.
Yeah.
He looked smart. He looked like he knew what he was talking about, and I was impressed in that aspect. But now let's not even talk about the fact that he has not been trying to be on other interviews that we've wanted him on. Now he's starting with the international media. I don't know if he's downplaying local media, but that's not the point. Coming down to what he said about his wealth.
Yeah.
What products and services do you offer? What companies do you have? You said that you had your inheritance from your father. Who is your father? And where does that inheritance stem from? And at what point in time did you come into this vast amount of wealth? Right? So if you're saying that your wealth is legitimate, there should be track record.
Of course.
You should be able to bring it out in the open to Nigerians to say, this and this and these are the things that I'm into. When you put them all together, it sums up to this. Right? And then he correlated, he connected himself with Warren Buffett, and I felt like that was like an insult. I felt like that was like an insult because Warren Buffett, everybody knows that he has his investments in various aspects of industries, right? And he has his Berkshire Hathaway company, he's on stock, he's on the stock market. So you see that this man is actually working.
Yes, his wealth is traceable.
And he has a story. He has a story. What's your story? What's your story? His story is sketchy.
He says real estate, and then real estate enough to have a bullion van deliver money to your house within a very short time frame.
And to have that amazing property at Bordelon, you know, and let's not forget that, okay, there's a story as well of him, I think with PM News, you know, where he said, oh, he worked in Deloitte and he was paid a certain sum of money and all of that. All these things are not plausible. All these things, we are not able to verify them. So really, his wealth is a big issue. When it comes to us Nigerians even believing him as a trustworthy candidate for the office of the presidency, you know, this is something he needs to trash out. Every time we get to ask him this question, he gets quite defensive about it. You know? But if you're someone who knows where you have put in your onion, where you have put your eggs and in what baskets, you can be able to stand up tall and say, I have investments in this, in that, and all of those are plausible to the outcomes of my life right now. You can go verify according to the Labour Party. Yeah. But if you're bold enough to say that, then okay. But when you try to have different takes when it comes to your wealth, and even the people who work with him, everybody has different stories. That means there is not one cohesive story that makes us see what your traction has been like, how you started from nothing to this vast amount of wealth that you have now. So it's still very sketchy.
It is.
And I don't know how we are going to be able to elect someone with a sketchy history into the most important office in our country.
That's true.
You know, because if your story is sketchy, what is the message you're sending to others? You get what I mean? So we're talking about Yahoo cybercrime and all of that. If these people are not able to state coherently where their wealth comes from, you know, they can simply say, well, Oga at the top, do we know what he's about? You know, so it's a lot. It is.
Well, quite an interesting interview. If you haven't watched it, make sure you look for the link and see that interview. At least get to know or hear Bola Tinubu speak. Without saying Agbado for the first time. He talked about employment and security. Part of the things he said he wants to do when he gets into office and all of that. So it was quite interesting and insightful for me. I really enjoyed it. All right, away from that story now, I'd like us to also talk about CBN policy, right? It says in a move that may prevent vote buying, if that is the reason though, I don't know if that's the reason. CBN sets new withdrawal limit, and right under that you see the limits. It says restricts individuals to 100,000 and corporate withdrawals to 500,000 per week. You know, how do you react to that story? Because for me, I've been wondering what is behind this new policy. What are they trying to do? First is bringing all the old notes. We produce new notes, and then please the time frame for old note retrieval is so short. We're looking at 3 months, and now we're back with this other policy that is saying that okay, while we're working on bringing back the notes, just also add this one. Just know that you cannot withdraw more than 100,000 naira cash within a week off the counter anywhere. Even if when you go to the POS, it's the same thing. It still applies because say you cannot withdraw more than 20,000 naira per day. I mean, so it's very disturbing.
It is disturbing. Now, the reason behind it, saying you want to curb vote buying, it sounds like it's something we should be grateful for. I mean, right now we're in a space in time where people are trying to see how much we can be able to have a very much free and fair election, you know, and there's no vote buying, and that's fine. But on the larger platform, the larger scheme of things, it's very discomforting. For some people like myself, I might not necessarily have issues with it because most of my transactions are done online. I don't necessarily need to carry cash. And all of that. But everyone is not like me. True. Like, for example, if I needed to go to buy groceries, if I needed to go to the market, I need my cash. Right? Those market women will not listen to you and say you want to transfer money. Yes, and then if I'm taking random taxis, not your Uber or your Bolt, I would need cash. You can't go into a public transport and say that, oh, can I transfer 100 naira or 200 to you? You need cash
But
for
that's
all of
where
that.
the e-naira app comes in, though. They are trying to promote the e-naira transactions, But then the acceptance level for e-naira has been very slow.
How many laymen on the streets
Know
have
about it, yeah. And so they're trying to promote that.
And don't forget, the e-naira has to do with, it's a digital currency.
Yes.
It's still with your phone. It's still with your data.
Yeah.
Right?
So how many people have
How
those?
many women in the market will be able to do that? They just want you to give them their cash. That's about it. So, and also the timing. What is it with this government and the cabinet and the ministers with their timing? The timing is wrong. There's a whole lot of things that we're facing at this point in time. And now you're coming up with this. And rightly so, as we were saying backstage, where you had to even analyze to me, construction sites.
Yeah.
Those people, you pay them cash per day.
Per day. Most of those people working at those construction sites don't have accounts. Or even though they do, they don't operate them in terms of payment. So it would require that site managers will pay with cash. So they come in there. Most big sites, they pay up to ₦1 million or more for one day's job to different level of workers there. And so if they have to withdraw that money per day, they're paying 10% of that money to the banks for as long as they are contract carrier.
It's not a very friendly policy or step forward he's putting out. I think that like what I would always say when it comes to this government, there should be clauses around every regulatory precept that they put out. There should be clauses around it. Because, for example, you're saying 20,000 from POS. People need this cash to do more, right? And then truth of the matter is, for some of us, yes, like I said before, we can be able to do transactions with our phone mobile, but how are you promoting it and promoting the usage of your digital banking apps and all that to the masses? Right?
Yeah.
We are only a small percentage of people doing online transaction, right? But the larger mass, they're not interested in all this your phone thing.
But that's the CBN will also argue that that's what they are trying to curb at the moment. They want to bring in. They want to force a lot of Nigerians to go cashless, which
they want to force them to go cashless. Now, in order for you to go cashless, it means that you need to have a phone that is internet accessible.
But there's the USSD though.
Okay, there's the USSD. Fine, but that means you have your phone, and then you still have to go to the bank and get your account and get that all sorted out. And let's not forget, there are times where you need to make an instant transaction, and then it just won't work.
The networks won't let you go.
It just won't work.
And then there are days where I want to do some transactions where the apps are not working.
You are frustrated.
USSD not working. You're going round and round looking for all the options around you. None is working.
And recently, all the banks have been so faulty. I use GT. They've been faulty as well.
Yes.
So it's a whole lot of.
Well, I believe that even if this is going to work, the CBN need to do a lot more awareness, public awareness for people to be able to adopt this system without all the stress.
And create some exception. This should not be like an absolute for everybody. Create some exceptions.
Yes. All right, we're going to go into our next paper, but that will be right after the short break. When we come back, we'll take our last two papers for the day. You stay tuned. Now that you have registered for your PVC, it doesn't stop there. Ensure you pick up your PVC. Be alert. Join many Nigerians to vote credible leaders that will change the tide of this nation. Do not sell your vote. Remember, this is our future. Your vote is your voice.
This message is proudly brought to you by Thav Media Limited.
All right, thank you for staying with us up to this time. You're welcome back to the newspaper review. We'll continue with our papers, and this time it will be the Daily Times newspaper for today, the 7th of December, 2022. We see here still the same news. I guess it featured on all of the papers. You see here, CBN imposes cash withdrawals limits of 100,000 a week, picks 500,000 withdrawals for organizations. All right, other headlines here. We see 2023 election will be free, fair, credible. Buhari reassures, says manipulators will not be allowed in any form. to receive highest honor of Guinea-Bissau Commission Road today. All right. NBA boycotts call to bar of 4,691 new lawyers as BOB chairman refuses to rescue self. Buhari assures of sustained investment in aviation sector. And lastly, I'll take this headline. It says Supreme Court alleges plot to humiliate, silence CJN, other judicial officers. All right, I'd like you to look at the story of the president reassuring us that the 2023 general elections will be free, fair, and credible. Do you believe him?
Well, first thing, like we were saying the other time, it is a good thing to see that he's not mute.
Yes, yes.
He's not a mute president.
He's been very vocal.
This period, he's just been talking to us every other day, saying one thing or the other, and quite sensible things as well. So, okay, you know, but I wish he had been like this earlier on than now.
So that our confidence in him would be really high when he says things.
But then it's what it is. Politicians will be politicians. But free and fair, hopefully. Because that's what every Nigerian at this point in time
that's what the country needs.
Yeah. That's what we need. That's what we want.
Yeah.
That's why there is the massive increase in the number of registered voters and people that are going to be collecting their PVCs, because people are done, people are tired. And this is not the time where, and I'm speaking to even us Nigerians out there, the citizens, it's not even the time to say that somebody's going to give you 2,000 naira or 5,000 naira and then you go and carry a gun or whatever, try to disrupt things. I mean, it's not the time for that. Think about yourself, your children, future. I mean, for the past 4 years or 8 years, it's like we've just been going abysmally,
from bad to worse. It's really been tough.
It has been tough. So we need a breather, something different. It might not be a miracle, but something different. And we are deserving of that as well. So I really do hope that he's all for it. And I thank God for a few measures that have started coming up, you know, with the collating of your votes, you know, electronically. So it's already it's already boycotting the whole you know, multiple votes and all of that, and underage votes. Yes. So that's one thing. And now CBN, even though I'm not a fan of it, you know, coming with limits, you know, as to what you can be able to withdraw, according to them, to stop vote buying.
But that's not going to stop them, because I was going to say that. I was going to say, aside the transfers, because, you know, politicians, I believe, avoid making transfers when they want to, you know, cut corners, because transfers are traceable, and you know, that one can easily indict anybody through bank transactions. But in cash transactions, you can neither say or be able to hold people accountable for their actions when it comes to cash transactions. But aside that, I was even going to say that for these politicians that have, you know, stock up so much to buy, you know, voters that are going to sell off and all of that, giving 10% to the banks to withdraw as much as they want.
It means nothing to them, actually, at the end of the day.
They want to withdraw 500 million naira and they want to give 10% to the bank. That's not the problem for them, because actually the money is meant to be spent giving people and buying their conscience and whatever. So all of that, I know there are measures. The government is showing us that they are doing things or doing stuff to, you know, prevent vote buying and all of that, which kudos to them, for them to think and say, okay, let's try this, let's try that. I really love the fact that they are doing that. But we hope that it has the effect that they are, you know, trying to get. So
that's what's most important.
Yes, because the elections, this year's elections is so critical that we need to get it right. And so I keep appealing to a lot of Nigerians, everybody watching the show every time. I keep appealing that first, okay, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that the PVCs are ready. So if you registered, please visit any INEC office close to you to get information on how you pick up your card. But they are ready for pickup. So yeah, pick your card if you know the location to go to. So yes, and so we are all ready for the election. So get involved, and please clear your conscience of any votes. There's no amount of money that can remove you from the disaster and the stress that Nigerians have been going through recently. Both the rich
it's
and the
even
poor.
projected that there will be some form of recession next year.
Oh yeah, we're heading there.
Looks like there are even harder times coming. So this is not the time, you know, that people should be looking at their temporary pockets, because how much are they going to give you that is going to last you for that long?
Yeah.
Except you are the top tier for
Very
them
true.
to give you that much money.
Very
So it's the time where we really have to put our ears to the ground
Mm-hmm.
and look at all the candidates and really know who caters to the core values
Yeah.
of us as Nigerians. Now, I'm not talking about your interest alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because yeah, each and every one of us, we have our various interests that we're looking at to
Yeah.
hear that these people are going to include in their manifesto, memo, ambition, or whatever that it is that they have, for come 2023. But looking out for the collective good as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is good for my neighbor? What is good for me should be good for my neighbor. You get what
Very
I mean?
true.
So that's what we should look at. It's not time to be selfish. It's time to look out for the collective good and vote wisely.
Yeah, I
know?
agree with you. So, well, we're going to go into our last paper for today, and that will be the Daily Independent newspaper. We see here as headline on the Daily Independent: vote must count in 2023 general election. INEC assures Nigerians. Also, we see Senate moves against federal government over tax waivers, investment incentives. As the main headline here, again, contributory pensions at risk as more ditch scheme. Stakeholders query backdoor passage of bill to deplete plan. All right, so do well to pick up a copy of the Daily Independent and read up details of that story. Other headlines here, we see we've fully met demands of NSAS protesters, federal government speaking. And then right under that, 4,711 new lawyers called to Nigerian bar. Reforms in Naseni yielding desired results under my watch. Buhari speaking. Details of that on page 6 of the Daily Independent. Oh, that's the story of the call to bar caught my attention. And so the paper before this one spoke about, the Nigerian Bar Association chairman boycotting the event and all of that. But then, most importantly, is that we have over 4,000 new lawyers called to bar. How do you think that's going to affect our justice system leading up to the general elections and in general?
I think first of all, I'm going to congratulate each and every
Yeah,
one of them.
congratulations to
Yes,
all of them.
congratulations to you. If you did make it, at the call to bar. So yes, that's said. But do we have enough law firms to be able to cater to all of these numbers that we have just churned out? And it's not even only about the number of law firms that we have that can be able to cater to them. Are we able to pay them well enough to make them stay, especially for the bright minds? Because still, it's not only about, bringing out graduates.
Yeah.
It's about having an enabling environment that has thriving firms that will be able to cater to these people, absorb them, and where they can start their career and grow, in both experience, knowledge, and financial capacity as well. So I hope that things will look up for these particular ones, and that we have enough firms that will absorb them. But at the end of the day, the chairman boycotting that event, I wonder what his reason was.
Well, I think it's political. The NBA seem to have a little bit of rancor within their ranks, and that must have led to why he didn't show up at the event. But that didn't stop the barristers from being conferred with their honors as being lawyers. So
and I hope that even these new graduates would really, really stick to the tenets of law, of good law practice.
Very true.
And not be all about how can we get the money, through our profession, but uphold the tenets.
I've seen more lawyers. I've seen more lawyers go off, the whole law thing, and they find themselves in different areas.
Because it's not quite lucrative in our country, except you are in the top tier law firms, which are not that many.
And then you have to be really passionate about the justice system for you to grow in there. All right, that's all we can take today. I want to thank you so much, Natasha. And to our viewers, thank you for staying with us. You guys are the MVPs. Don't forget to go and pick up your PVC. I keep saying that because it is that important. Pick up your PVCs and get your minds ready to vote. Please. This time, it's a very, very critical time. You need to keep your ears and your eyes open. Please listen to these aspirants that are out there and then make a choice. Ensure you participate in the voting process, and let's pick a new leader that will help this country to get back to his days, its days of glory one more time. All right, that's all for today. Till next time I come your way again, my name is William Sabule, and this has been the News Super Review here on TAP TV.